Out with the old, in with the new. Well, I guess for this episode, we're going to take some time and we're going to take this G20 van and LS swap it. Got a little 305 in here. Looks like we'll have plenty of room, probably to snake this bugger out the nose, out the front. Get an LS in here. I'm thinking the LS intake shouldn't sit any higher than this, but we'll find out. So we're gonna go ahead and just start stripping her down. All right, so to get this old 305 out of here, we're gonna pull the grill out, the core support, get all that off, the bumper off, radiator, AC condenser, transmission cooler, pull the coolant reservoir off, this vacuum bulb, whatever the hell it does. Probably won't ever use that again. We'll see. I don't know. But yeah, we'll just start getting in here and getting all these hoses off. Then we'll hop underneath, undo tranny torque converter bolts, bell housing bolts, motor mounts, carburetor, intake, snag her out. Well, got the front tore apart, radiator and everything out. So now I just gotta go inside the cab and remove all the hoses, everything, carburetor. Might even pull the intake so I can get my cherry picker as low as possible. Fan will come off, hose, and all that. Got a bit of room to work with in here, but yeah, you can see the mess. So, saws all the exhaust, both sides. Get all this wiring yanked off. I'm just gonna cut it and I'll simplify the van harness later when I tie it into the LS harness. All right, so I'm gonna start with pulling a bunch of these hoses off for the evap system. Anything attached to the cab, to the motor, fuel lines, carburetor stuff, all that is coming off. And like that, we got the little 305 out. Kind of was tight sneaking it up and through here, but we made her happen. So I'm gonna go ahead and kind of clean up in here a little bit. I gotta get that power steering pump hose removed off of there so I can get rid of that. I gotta look into this harness, see if I can simplify it or not, or at least decide what sensor connections I'm gonna still use. But yeah, I mean, came out fairly decent, and I'll just have to get that stripped down, manifolds off, intake off, set it in here, see where it rests, see how much room. This engine sits more passenger side, so I gotta see how much room I have for headers to come down, so that'll be interesting. All right, everybody, back in the shop again today. I'm gonna work on cleaning up some of the stuff that doesn't need to be in here, and go ahead and get that thrown on the ground, pick that up with the cherry picker, get the different flex plate and everything thrown on this, pull the manifolds off, wires, pull the intake, and we're gonna try swinging that in there. Alright, so this engine came with a couple broken manifold bolts. So, I've got to get those out, whether I weld, drill and tap them. Either way, I got to warm up the head to get them to come out. I forgot this power steering pump. Somebody cut the tube. So I got a different one. We'll throw that on. Got to pull the pulley off in order to do that. So we'll get that swapped out. Get this thing prepped for headers to go on after it's in the engine bay. So first we'll start with these bolts. All right, and like that, I have all of them pulled out. So now I got to get the power steering pump swapped. This is the kit I use. You can get it at Oreillys. All right, got the power steering pump done. I'm actually gonna slap the motor mounts on real quick, and then we'll go ahead and pick it up, get that flex plate and everything changed out. These are just some eBay special mounts, but they're sliders, they're adjustable. The other thing I like is the window here. They're adjustable side to side. So if you're off by just a ½ inch, not a huge deal. A lot of flexibility. All right, spacer, flex plate installed. Got it hanging. Now I just gotta bungee up this section of harness. Maybe hook this hose up there somewhere. Maybe move this out of the way. Never mind. We're gonna try sneaking that old LS in here and getting her coupled up, see how low the pan hangs. All right, got the motor mount bolts in. So I just need to go back there and line up the transmission. So I'm just gonna tilt this back or let it down, and that should tilt it. And we'll crawl underneath and see if we can get a couple bell housing bolts started. Well, as you can see, we're relatively close. Probably just gotta wiggle the tranny to get it to pop in. Our snout's not quite in our adapter. Give it a few wiggles and hopefully it is. All right, I got motor mount bolts all snugged up. I got the bottom 4, 2 on each side, bell housing bolts in. So now it's just build some heater hoses that go to there. Get the rest of these bolts for this bracket, put the intake on, alternator on, and get the LS swap harness. Get it all laid on here, clipped in, figure out where to mount the fuse box and all that, and then simplify this harness that I just have draped up here. Like this is for the alternator, that's the charge wire for the battery. So there's a few of them we can steal, rob, whatever, to hook up so this thing charges properly. We got the original coolant temp, which we might put in that back port. I got oil pressure back there for the LS, but we'll go down on the fitting. Oh, I don't know if you can see it down there. That fitting right there will drill and tap to 1/8 inch MPT. We'll get the factory oil pressure sensor put in there. And then this thing will have coolant temp, oil pressure. The setup will come with a RPM signal wire. We can put it tack in the dash if we want to, or on the dash. But yeah, so anyways, we'll just keep picking away at this. But for now, this is it for this episode, and next we'll be assembling everything. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned if you want to see more of this garbage get put into something.